In a political hearing, sometimes the most revealing moments aren't in the fiery speeches, but in the quiet, evasive answers to simple questions. What happens when the head of the nation's top law enforcement agency is confronted with a list of undeniable, horrific facts? Does he meet them with clarity, or does he retreat into the fog of political caution? This exchange is more than just a tense moment. It's a spotlight on the struggle between data-driven reality and a politically convenient narrative, and it raises a critical question. Can an institution remain objective when its leader is afraid to state the obvious?
California is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Director, for coming here today. And actually, thank you for your response to my colleague from New York who asked you earlier about violent extremism. And you said that there is violent extreme ideology on both sides. And I think you actually alluded to that same statement yesterday in the Senate. So I too have some questions I'd like to ask you. These are not gotcha questions, and just deny, please, what you deem to be false. So Dylan Roof, who followed white supremacist propaganda, murdered 9 black parishioners in Charleston in 2015. Do you deny this?
I'm sorry. Dylan Ruth?
Roof?
Roof, can you give me some more information?
You're head of the FBI, you probably know this. If you don't know, that's fine.
You can give me a reminder. I've got a lot in front of me.
It was national news. Robert Bowers murdered 11 Jewish worshipers in Pittsburgh in 2018.
I do remember that.
And it was the deadliest anti-Semitic attack. So do you admit that that happened?
I'm not saying the other thing didn't happen. I'm just asking for a little information.
Patrick Cruces, who posted a manifesto about a Hispanic invasion, walked into a Walmart in El Paso, Texas in 2019 and began firing. He murdered 23 people that day, and the youngest was 15. Do you admit or deny that that happened?
I'll take your presentation as accurate.
All right, well, I have to say all of these cases have been adjudicated. As I said, they are not gotcha questions. These incidents were national news. And as director of the FBI, you have access to all of this information. So in 2022, Peyton Grendon walked into a supermarket in a black neighborhood in Buffalo, New York, and started shooting. He murdered 10 people that day. And on September 10th, your friend Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Tyler Robinson has been taken into custody and charged, but also on that day, Desmond Holley, a 16-year-old white male, shot and injured 2 students at a high school in Colorado before killing himself. And according to the Anti-Defamation League, he had a fascination with mass shootings and white supremacy. So do you admit to, deny these facts?
Those happened.
Okay. Your predecessor, former FBI Director Christopher Wray, said that one of the most dangerous concerns is that racially motivated violent extremism, especially white supremacists, has been the biggest chunk of our domestic terrorism cases and is responsible for the most lethal attacks over the last decade. Do you admit or deny, A, that he said this?
I'll let the record reflect that. Whatever he said was what he said.
All right, and do you agree?
That there is racially motivated crimes being committed in America, yes.
Yes, especially white supremacists, which is the biggest chunk of our domestic terrorism. I'm glad that you said this. So last week, President Trump was asked if there were extremists on both the left and the right. He was actually asked this by Fox and Friends, and his exact words were, "I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy." Do you agree with the president?
I don't speak for the president. The president speaks for himself.
Do you agree with the president?
I don't. On what matter?
On the question that I just asked, do you agree with his statement about the radical left?
That there's ideology that's driving violence on both sides? Yes, that's what he acknowledged.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Okay. But I'm glad that you're saying that and actually creating some separation between you and the president. And I'm glad that you are acknowledging that there is violent extremism on both sides. What's interesting is that the research arm of the Department of Justice, the National Institute of Justice, do you know what that is?
I'm familiar with them.
Okay, great. It is the research arm of the Department of Justice, and it published an article in 2024 devoted to domestic radicalization, violent extremism, and terrorism. I have it. It's interesting that it's no longer on the website. It has been scrubbed, but I ask these questions because what makes a strong, qualified director of any business, of any household, of the FBI, what makes a reputable prosecutor is not lapdog loyalty, but a commitment to the creed that evidence is agnostic and that the evidence will lead you to making the right decisions. And your job, no one's job is to like the data or the evidence, it is to collect it. That is how you gain trust. And Mr. Chair, I would like to enter into the record, if I may. White supremacist group stands by racist ideology with unanimous consent.
Without objection.
Dylan Roof, the radicalization of the alt-right and ritualized racial violence.
Without objection.
Thank you. Another article, how Robert Bowers went from conservative to white nationalist. I'd like to enter that into the record with me.
Without objection.
Patrick Cruces believed he was fulfilling Trump's wishes in El Paso attack, his attorneys said. I'd like to enter into the record.
Without objection.
Buffalo shooting, how far-right killers are radicalized online. I'd like to enter that into the record.
Without objection.
Evergreen high school shooters' online activity reveals fascination with mass shootings, white supremacy. I'd like to enter that into the record.
Without objection.
Murder and extremism in the United States in 2024, a report by the Anti-Defamation League. I'd like to enter that into
Without
the record.
objection.
And the article, the report that was scrubbed from the DOJ just recently, National Institute of Justice Journal focusing on domestic radicalization, violent extremism, and terrorism. I'd like to enter that into the record.
Without objection.
And lastly, the libertarian think tank Cato and their analysis on violent extremism and the right rising in extremist acts. I'd like to enter that into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you, and I yield back.
The strategy on display here is methodical and devastatingly effective. The questioner isn't asking for an opinion. She is building a wall of undisputed facts, brick by brick. By listing a series of high-profile, adjudicated cases of deadly white supremacist violence, Dylan Roof, Robert Bowers, Patrick Cruces, Peyton Grendon, she forces the FBI director into a corner. He has only two choices: agree with these documented realities or deny them and appear completely ignorant of his own agency's purview. His initial response, asking for more information on the infamous Dylan Roof case, is a telling moment of hesitation. It's not a denial, but it's a clear attempt to sidestep a direct affirmation. His subsequent answers, like "I'll take your presentation as accurate," are not admissions of fact. They are carefully worded non-answers designed to avoid personal commitment to the truth being presented. This matters because the entire premise of the questioning is to challenge the director's previous statement about violent extreme ideology on both sides. The Congresswoman's point, reinforced by quoting his own predecessor Christopher Wray, is that while extremism may exist across the spectrum, the data shows that racially motivated violent extremism, particularly from white supremacists, has been the most lethal domestic threat over the last decade. The director's reluctance to simply agree with the factual record of these attacks demonstrates a profound unwillingness to contradict a political narrative that seeks to create a false equivalence. This isn't just about semantics. It's about whether the FBI's focus is being guided by evidence or by the political winds, especially when the president at the time has explicitly downplayed the threat from the radical right while amplifying the threat from the left. The conversation in that hearing room is a microcosm of a much larger battle being fought over the nature of truth and security in America. When political rhetoric, like the idea that radicals on the right are simply motivated by a desire to stop crime, directly contradicts the bloody reality of racially motivated massacres, the consequences are enormous. It influences everything from how law enforcement resources are allocated to which communities are seen as threats versus which are seen as victims. The Congresswoman entering a scrubbed Department of Justice report into the record is a crucial detail. It suggests that this isn't just about one official's evasiveness. It points to a systemic effort to suppress or ignore data that is politically inconvenient. Think of it like a public health agency being pressured to stop publishing data on a virus because the findings are unpopular with leadership. The threat doesn't vanish simply because you stop talking about it. it grows in the dark. So, what are the key takeaways from all of this? First, a well-prepared questioner using an undeniable factual record can effectively dismantle political spin and expose evasion. Second, the exchange reveals the immense pressure on institutions like the FBI to align with a specific political narrative, even if it means sidestepping clear, data-supported truths about domestic security threats. And finally, the dialogue highlights that the debate over extremism is not just a political game. It has life or death consequences, and the refusal to name a threat accurately is a failure to confront it effectively. When the leaders of our top law enforcement agencies seem hesitant to name a threat directly, what does that mean for the country's ability to actually fight it? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this analysis helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.